Here's an overview of volume control in Pro Tools. There are two ways that you can control volume. You can do that with clip gain, or you can do it with track volume. First, we're going to talk about clip gain. If you look at a clip, I'm going to zoom in on the clip. And if you've engaged the A to Z key up here, the command focus mode key, pressing T allows you to zoom in. If we take a look at this clip, we notice in the bottom left-hand side, there's a little audio fader next to a 0 dB. If you click on that, it brings up a fader, and this allows you to raise and lower the volume of the clip. You'll notice that our dB has changed. Now it's going down into the negative dBs. I'll push it up. It's going into the positive dBs. So that's the simplest, quickest way to manipulate the volume of a clip. You'll notice that the waveform is getting larger, and that is reflected by the volume, as opposed to up here when you're just adjusting the size of the waveform. So I just wanted to point that out because that is a point of confusion. So when you adjust the clip gain, it also adjusts the waveform, reflecting the volume that results from those adjustments. But when you make your adjustments up here, all you're adjusting is the view of the waveform. Back to clip gain. So that's the simplest way to adjust the volume on clips, and it's a quick way when you're just running through and you want to get the clips generally where they want to be. The other way is track volume, and this is volume that is reflected in the entire track. And we could do that by clicking where we see waveform in the very first column, changing that to volume. The shortcut for toggling between volume view and waveform view is the hyphen key under keyboard. For this shortcut to work, make sure that you have the keyboard command focus engaged. Volume view, and we could raise and lower the volume line, and that's going to raise and lower the volume of not just this clip, but any clip that happens to be on the track. You'll see we're affecting the whole track. However, you can go in and adjust for clips on the track. If I make a selection just over this clip, and I hover over this volume line and click and drag, you'll notice now it's just lowering the volume at this point, then the volume jumps back up again. That's one way you can do it. Or if you hold down the command key and hover over the line, you'll get a hand with a plus sign. This allows you to add points to this volume line without holding any other key down. If you just hover over those points, you'll see a finger which allows you to click and drag up or down. So if we want to do a little fade here, we'll hold down the command key, click a point, click another point, and now I lift my finger off the command key, so I just get the hand without the plus sign. I can just create a fade on this particular clip. If you hold down the option key and hover over these points, you'll get a hand with a little minus sign, which allows you to delete those volume keyframes. You can also select a number of keyframes or one keyframe and hit the delete key, and as long as you're in volume mode, not waveform mode, you're not deleting the waveform, you're just deleting the points on the volume line. There's something else I want to demonstrate about the behavior of the volume line. Now if you notice, when I have no keyframes except the very beginning, there's always a keyframe in the beginning, click and drag and the entire line goes up and down. However, if I add a keyframe, so I'm going to add a keyframe here, and now I'm going to click and drag, and notice now it's affecting everything from the keyframe forward. And here it's going to the beginning of the clip. It doesn't always work that way, it depends on where you are, but I just wanted to point out the behavior of the volume line once you start adding keyframes. If you notice the behavior of the keyframe, as I selected this area here and dragged it down. So it takes getting used to, but it's an effective way to control the volume in Pro Tools.